This video is brought to you by Squarespace.
What you're about to watch is one man's rather stupid idea to shoot an entire video review of the Insta360 ONE X2, a fantastic camera and a worthy upgrade, but just film entirely on the camera in England in October. One big improvement of the camera, it's now waterproof. Otherwise it'll be a very, very, very short review. Well, it's clearly going to rain. That way's blue skies, but that's not the way I'm going, sadly. So many planes here. It's raining. How annoying. I'm actually driving towards the rain right now. As long as I don't stop, I won't get wet. The original concept was to shoot this within 2 hours, and I'm not breaking that. Yes, it's the next day, but I only filmed for an hour yesterday, so I'm going to shoot for another hour. It's a shame because I looked out the window and saw sunshine, and by the time I got myself sorted, it had gone. I don't want to repeat everything that I said yesterday, so I will be cutting backwards and forwards to that filming. You'll know which is which because I was wearing a lighter blue jacket. It'll be a little bit darker too. This is my Fiat Barchetta, which in Italian means little boat. And I've had this for 23 years. Which is probably older than a lot of people watching this video. I just love it, and I love it when the sun comes out and you can just really make the most of this just glorious Indian summer that we're having.
Before I get too self-indulgent, well, I've probably gone past that point, so let me explain a little bit about what's going on here. The Insta360 ONE X2 has two super wide angle cameras, one at the front, one at the back, capturing more than 180 degrees in these two circular images. The app in the mobile device or your computer will then stitch them together to create this. Now you could take that image and play it in a 360 headset and you'll be transported to basically sticking outside of my car and you can look around. But what I'm doing in this video is the cool stuff, which is taking that image and manipulating it, moving it around, zooming in, zooming out, cutting to different angles, all from the same shot. We're capturing everything so we can change the position of where we're looking at. We can do hard cuts or we can do moves, we can do pans, we can do tilts, we can do all sorts of fun shots. And you can even go a little bit crazy with the tiny planets, which are a lot of fun. Not very realistic though, and then you can go a little bit too far. If you want to go really crazy, you can make your viewers really sick. All of these manipulations are done in the software, and it's hugely creative and so much fun to do.
Ah, beautiful Richmond. Beautiful multicoloured Richmond. Beautiful jaywalking Richmond. Oh, I've come for a haircut. So let's get some weight and over length off the top. Short on the sides and the back. So it's 360 camera, so basically it captures everything, literally. Wow. And then when you put it into your phone, you can choose where you want to point the camera. I think I've sold him on one. I ran out of space on the card. I had a 32GB in there, which is what they sent me with it. Rookie mistake. Need a bigger card than that. Okay, let's talk about image quality. It is a big thing. It's okay. Look, you'll see 5.7K. That is for the entire image, all the 360. When you manipulate it and change to a different field of view, all the way down to narrow, you're cropping right in on that image, and you're going to drop that resolution massively. Something you really need to be aware of. And also, there is a fair amount of noise in the image, even at the lowest ISO. And the bane of my life, digital sharpening. So the combination of noise and digital sharpening and cropping in is not a good one.
So the image quality itself hasn't been improved over the One X. And there's two ways that could improve it. One of them they could implement in software, and the other is purely the physical limitations. These sensors are very small. These are mobile phone sensors, and packing all of those pixels into it is always going to be an issue. If you ever try and crop it on your mobile phone footage, you'll see that it rarely looks good. And a big part of that is down to the artificial sharpening that is added to it, but also the amount of pixels packed into that really small sensor. So it's both of those issues that are part of the problem with the image quality of the One X. Looks fine when it's at 5.7K, but as soon as you start cropping in, those are when the issues happen. So what if you up the resolution? Yes and no. High resolution is obviously going to be a plus when you are cropping in, but it will still have that same issue, and if you don't increase the sensor size, you're just going to have even more pixels packed into them. But your mobile phone footage can be a lot better if you use something like Filmic Pro, where you can make the image less processed. And that is what I'd love to see in the Insta360 ONE X2, is to just get rid of that artificial sharpening, because it would help so much. It's not going to completely transform the image, but it will definitely help it. If you have a really high quality 4K image, you can crop in a large amount and it can still look good. I know this is a bit unfair because it's a full frame sensor, this image, but this illustrates the point because there's no artificial sharpening going on here. But resolution would definitely help alongside the processing issues. Take a look at the Insta360 Pro 2. This is 10 times the price of the One X2. And this records an 8K image. The sensors are very small in this, don't know exactly the size because it's not been stated, but there's 6 of them, and each of the sensors, each camera, captures 4K, and it's blended together to create an 8K image. And you have lots of control over the processing, and that's what makes the huge difference. But it's big, heavy, and expensive. But you can still walk around with it. I did. And you can see it looks great. But my God, I look ridiculous. You may think it's unfair to compare a camera that cost 10 times the amount. And I don't expect Insta360 to bring out a small camera that compares to this image quality.
Just walking along, enjoying London like every other tourist.
But I think they can make it a lot better, and definitely start with the artificial sharpening. It's something I bring up all the time when I'm doing videos about drones or action cameras and 360 cameras. It's just it affects 360 cameras more so because you are cropping in, whereas you don't do that generally on your drones and action cameras. So I think this image can be definitely improved with some firmware updates. And one day maybe we'll have image quality like the Insta360 Pro 2 in a small body and a small price. I'm sure we will. Technology is amazing. I'm sure the Insta360 boffins are trying to figure that out right now.
Idiot, it's on the app.
I do actually make myself available for filming proper 360 video, you know, for the headsets. And you can see that on my Squarespace website. Yes, Squarespace are the sponsor of this video. My website itself has been going since 2007, but in 2015 I decided to split up the blog and the part where you hire me into two separate sites because the blog was just too big. And I went with Squarespace because it's so easy to design with the templates and so easy to manage. When I need to make changes, I don't need to ask anybody else to do it. I can do it myself, and I don't know code. If I need to add any text or change things around or add some video, it is incredibly simple to do. You can get 10% off your own website or domain with the link in the description below.
So many people here, and very few wearing masks. So when I get into the crowds, people, this goes on. This is one of my favourite things you can do. You can clamp it onto somewhere, and so you can film yourself, which is cool. You know, I could have a tripod here and be doing a review of a camera. I could be taking a photo of, or video. I'm in video mode. Let's try it again. I could be taking a photo. No, it's still recording.
The screen is nice to have for sure. You don't really need to see what you're actually filming because, well, it's 360, isn't it? Unless you just want to check to make sure that nothing looks weird in the frame. It's mainly for changing your settings, which is really nice. You don't have to use the app for that. So I am in 5.7K 25p. Oh, bye.
So the reason why I don't see selfie stick is very simple. Because you have the two lenses either side, anything that falls between those two lenses is cancelled out. If you use a traditional selfie stick which you angle towards yourself, then this is going to happen. This is the same selfie stick but I put on a little ball head. No good. You angle it straight and it'll be a lot better. You'll still see a bit of the ball head because it is bigger than the space between the two lenses. You can use any selfie stick as long as it will fit between those lenses. If you have the Insta360 ONE R, for example, you can have a much thicker selfie stick because the gap between the lenses is much larger. But if you are using the ONE X and the ONE X2, you do need thin selfie sticks like this. These are two of the three that you can get. This is the new smaller one, and this big one is the same as the one I'm using there. Smaller one's about half the size. There is one more size though. I hate doing vlogging, I hate being out and filming myself, hate drawing attention to myself, and it's exactly what I'm doing, but has to be done. No, no fishing. Oh, I got one. Oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. It's a swan. I got a swan. Come on, duckies. Swannies, geeseys. Come on, geese. That should be cool. I hope I was recording. No. I just had the coolest shot I've done. Extended selfie stick, somebody gave me a piece of bread feeding the geese, and I wasn't recording. This camera's so far away, I couldn't see the light, wasn't flashing. That's my excuse and I'm going to stick with it. So I need to try and get a piece of bread, or that more, and do that again. I was also hands-free, it was amazing. White, please. Actually, I'll get them both, please. Two of them, please. I'm not going to be able to feed the ducks and drink coffee, but let's see how we go. I'm just going to go over a little bit about how you manipulate the images, both in the mobile app and the studio app. If you want me to do a separate video, let me know in the comments below. I just want to do a very brief overview because otherwise it just makes this video way too long. Until recently, I was pretty much just using the mobile app on my iPad because the studio app was missing lots of the features. But that's changed. The studio app is now much better. It is quicker to do the manipulations on the mobile app, especially if you've got it on an iPad. On a mobile phone, it's a bit fiddly. The interface is really lovely. The key features that both of the programs have, which are incredibly important, first off, your ability to choose your aspect ratio. So you can have 9:16, 60:9, which is the one I used, 2:35:1, and 1:1. You can select a subject to track, but that doesn't always make the smoothest looking footage. The key part of it is, without question, the keyframes that you put in there, and then how much you change the image, making it a small planet by zooming out or zooming in. For linear, you have all of the options in there. What I prefer about the Studio app is it also gives you the ability to add curves into these different keyframes, so they're not so harsh. And also you can do hard cuts, which I haven't found a way to do within the mobile app. For extreme tiny planets and extreme tunnel shots, then you need to use the Studio app because you have a limitation how much you can push it in the mobile app. And the biggest limitation with the mobile app is what it can export. I found that the quality definitely isn't as good as what I get out of the Studio app, especially as I have found that even though you're supposed to export 1080p from your manipulations, I export as 4K ProRes 422, and the quality is so much better. Anyway, if you want me to do something more on this, let me know. The one thing this camera absolutely needs is light, a fair amount of it, for a number of reasons. You can see the auto exposure working. When it gets dark, what's it going to do? It's going to push up the ISO. That means more noise, and that means more noise reduction, means more digital artifacts. The image is just going to really suffer, so you don't want that at all. If you don't have a huge amount of manual control, you can go into shutter priority, but there's no option for selecting manual ISO that I can see.
Alright, let me get a selfie with you on that stick. Come on, brother, man. Hey! Let's get a selfie, baby.
So if you are thinking about using this camera for vlogging, it's certainly possible. You need a hell of a lot more light than I've got right now. You could stand under a street lamp, but people might take you for something else. Nah, I'm not going to do it. Yeah, the other thing is the audio. The microphones are okay. They are improved, but they're still not great, especially if you're going to hold it from a distance from you. Doing a dual system sound like I am is totally impractical for that sort of thing. Just trying to sync up the recordings is a right pain in the ass, going to slow you right down. So, vlogging camera, maybe. This is a fantastic 360 camera. It's not the very best 360 camera you can get, of course not, but for the size and the features, working with the app, it is just enormous fun. Nobody else competes on that side. The GoPro 360 cameras are nice, but the app is just nowhere near as good. You just can't do the same things as this camera. I can't tell you whether it's worth upgrading to the One X2 if you have the One X. The One X is still a fantastic 360 camera, and this isn't cheap. So, I mean, if you want to take it underwater, then definitely. The battery life is a big plus, but you could always get spare batteries for the One X. There's lots of other little bits and pieces. Maybe when you add them all together, the answer is yes. Can you use this as an action camera? Yeah, absolutely. You're not going to get as great an image quality as, say, a GoPro or even the Insta360 ONE R's normal action cameras, because that resolution is concentrated in that one direction. But the flexibility is enormous. It isn't as rugged as those cameras because of the fragile aspect of the lenses sticking out, and they can get scratched really easily. The lens condom is very useful. Sadly, it doesn't come with it. It should do, but the chances of getting scratched is very easy. I've already got a little scratch on mine, and that's a bit frustrating. I took a chance coming out today because it was supposed to rain. It didn't. Got some great shots. The weather was beautiful. Totally worth it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good piece. I have to edit it first though, and that's the bit that takes the time. Always. And I did go over 2 hours. I enjoyed myself.